Imagine waking up every day with the feeling that no matter what happens, you are in control. That, even in the midst of chaos, you can keep calm, make smart decisions, and move on with confidence. Does it look like a distant dream? It is not. And the key to this is in a philosophy that has been used for over 2,000 years. Stoicism. But don't worry, this video will not be a boring or theoretical philosophy class. On the contrary, I will show you how Stoicism can be a practical and powerful tool to increase your emotional, mental, and practical intelligence. Yes, intelligence is not just about knowing a lot. It is about knowing how to deal with emotions, making wise decisions, and keeping the focus even when everything around you seems to crumble. And that's exactly what you will learn here. 10 Stoic techniques that will help you face everyday challenges with more clarity, resilience, and wisdom. From dealing with anxiety to making more rational decisions, these techniques will equip you to live a more balanced and focused life, even in the midst of modern chaos. But before we dive into the techniques, I want to invite you, if you are tired of feeling overwhelmed, making decisions you regret later, or losing control in stressful situations, this video is for you. So it already leaves your like, subscribes to the channel, and activates the bell, so as not to lose any content like this. Because believe me, what comes next can change the way you face life. Ready to start? So come on. Before we dive into techniques, it is important to understand where Stoicism comes from and why it is so relevant today. Stoicism emerged in ancient Greece around the 3rd century BC and was developed by philosophers such as Zeno de Citio, Epicteto, Seneca, and Marco Aurelio. But don't worry, let's not go into boring historical details. What you need to know is that Stoicism is not just an old philosophy. It is a practical guide to life. Stoics believe that happiness and inner peace do not depend on what happens around us, but how we react to what happens. In other words, we cannot control events, but we can control how we respond to them. And this idea is incredibly powerful, especially in the modern world, where we are constantly bombarded by distractions, pressures, and uncertainties. Think of your daily life: chaotic traffic, tight deadlines at work, discussions at home, bad news on TV. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, isn't it? But what if I tell you that you can learn to deal with it all calmly and smarter? This is where Stoicism comes in. Stoics teach us that instead of fighting what we cannot change, we should focus on what is under our control: our emotions, our thoughts, and our actions. And that is exactly what the 10 stores that I will show you will do. They will help you develop resilience, mental clarity, and self-control so you can face any challenge with wisdom. But why is this so important today? Because we live in a world that values speed, productivity, and success at any cost. And we often get lost in this race, letting negative emotions such as anxiety and anger take care. Stoicism offers us a different way, a way of living with more balance, focus, and purpose. So if you are ready to turn the way you deal with the challenges of life, continue with me. In the next techniques, you will find out how to apply Stoic wisdom in your daily life in a practical and accessible way. Let's go together. Technique 1. The art of perspective. See things from above. Imagine you're at the top of a mountain looking down. From there, everything looks small, even the problems that looked giant down there. This is the essence of the art of perspective, a Stoic technique that teaches us to see our challenges from a broader point of view. For example, you are stuck in traffic, annoyed and frustrated. Instead of getting carried away by anger, try to think, in a week, will it matter? Or, in the great scheme of the universe, is this traffic really significant? This change in perspective helps reduce frustration and keep calm. The immediate benefit? You gain mental clarity and avoid spending energy on things that in the end don't matter so much. Best of all, this technique can be applied in any situation, from work problems to personal conflicts. Now that you know how to gain perspective, let's talk about what is really under your control. Technique 2. Control of what depends on you. One of the central ideas of Stoicism is the distinction between what depends on us and what does not depend. In other words, it is no use worrying about things that are out of our control, such as traffic, climate, or opinion of others. Instead, we should focus on what we can control: our actions, thoughts, and attitudes. For example, if someone criticizes, you can't control what you say, but you can control how it reacts. Instead of defending or being hurt, you can choose to ignore or even learn from criticism if it is constructive. The benefit? You feel more empowered because it starts to spend your energy only on what really matters. And this brings an incredible feeling of freedom and inner peace. Ready for the next technique? Let's talk about how to prepare for the worst. Technique 3, negative visualization, premeditatio malorum. Negative visualization is a technique that seems backward, but is incredibly powerful. It consists in imagining the worst possible scenario before facing a difficult situation. Does it look scary? It may be, but the goal is precisely to reduce fear and anxiety. For example, imagine that you have an important presentation at work. Instead of getting nervous, try to visualize everything that could go wrong. You forget what to say, the projector breaks, the public doesn't react well. Now think about how you would deal with each of these situations. In doing so, you prepare yourself mentally for any unforeseen event. The benefit? You feel more confident and prepared because you have thought of solutions even before problems arise, and of course anxiety decreases because you have already faced the worst in your mind. Technique 4. Stoic diary. Maintaining a Stoic diary is one of the most transformative practices you can adopt. The idea is simple. Every night, set aside a few minutes to reflect on your day. What did you do well? What could have done better? What were your learnings? For example, if you lost patience with someone, write about what happened and how you could have reacted calmly. He faced a challenge. Write down how he surpassed or what he learned from the experience. The benefit? This practice increases self-awareness and emotional intelligence because you start to better understand your emotions and behaviors. In addition, the diary becomes a valuable record of its personal growth. Ready for the next technique? Let's talk about how to let go of the results. Technique 5. Results detachment. How many times have you become frustrated because something has not come out as planned? Stoicism teaches us how to focus on the process, not the result. In other words, do your best, but don't cling to what is out of your control. For example, if you are working on an important project, focus on giving your best, but don't be obsessed with success or failure. After all, the end result depends on many factors you cannot control. The benefit? You feel lighter and less pressured because you understand that what matters is effort and dedication, not the end result. And this, in turn, increases your mental clarity and your ability to make wiser decisions. Now that you know how to detach from results, how about learning to cultivate gratitude? Technique 6. Practice of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful practices to transform your mindset. Stoics believe that instead of focusing on what is missing, we must thank what we already have. And this can be done simply. Every night, write down 3 things you are grateful. For example, you can be grateful for your health, a special moment with a friend, or even a hot meal. The important thing is to train your mind to see the positive side of life, even on the most difficult days. The benefit? Gratitude increases happiness and resilience because you start to value the little things more and better deal with adversity. Ready for the next technique? Let's talk about the importance of pausing before reacting. Technique 7. Pause between stimulus and response. How many times have you impulsively reacted to a situation and regret it later? The technique of pause between stimulus and response teaches us to take a deep breath before acting. This sounds simple, but it can completely change the way you deal with conflicts. For example, if someone criticizes you, instead of reacting on time, take a deep breath and think, what is the best way to answer that? This break allows you to evaluate the situation calmly and make a smarter decision. The benefit? You avoid impulsive reactions and make more thoughtful decisions, which improves your relationships and reputation. Now that you know how to pause before reacting, let's talk about how to accept the inevitable. Technique 8. Acceptance of the inevitable. Not everything in life is under our control, and trying to fight the inevitable only generates frustration. The technique of acceptance teaches us how to embrace what we cannot change instead of resisting it. For example, if it rains on your tour, instead of complaining, accept the situation and find an alternative. Maybe you can enjoy the day at home or do something different. The benefit: acceptance reduces stress and resistance because you stop spending energy fighting what you can't change. And that brings an incredible feeling of peace. Ready for the next technique? Let's talk about the power to live the present moment. Technique 9. Focus on the present. Carpe diem. We live in a world that pressures us to think about the future all the time, in the next project, the next goal, the next challenge. But the Stoics remind us of the importance of living the present moment. For example, instead of worrying about what will happen tomorrow, focus on what you can do today. Enjoy the now, because it is the only moment that really exists. The benefit? The focus on the present increases satisfaction and productivity because you are totally dedicated to what you are doing without distractions. Now that you know how to live the moment, let's talk about emotional self-sufficiency. Technique 10. Emotional self-sufficiency. The last technique is perhaps the most powerful. Emotional self-sufficiency. This means learning to find happiness and peace within you, without depending on external validation. For example, instead of seeking approval from others, focus on approving. Instead of depending on external circumstances to be happy, find joy in the little things of life. The benefit? Emotional self-sufficiency brings an incredible feeling of freedom and independence because you no longer have to depend on external factors to feel good. Now that you know the 10 Stoic techniques, it's time to put them into practice. But how to do this consistently and effectively? Here are some tips to integrate Stoicism in your daily life. Start with one technique at a time. Do not try to apply all techniques at once. Choose one or two that resonate more with you and focus on them for a few weeks. For example, start with the practice of gratitude or the Stoic diary. Create a morning or night ritual. Reserve 5 to 10 minutes in the morning or before bed to practice the techniques. In the morning, you can use negative viewing to prepare for the day. In the evening, the Stoic diary helps to reflect on what it has learned. Use daily triggers. Associate the techniques with everyday situations. For example, whenever you feel stressed in traffic, practice the art of perspective. When you receive a criticism, remember to take a break between stimulus and response. Be consistent, not perfect. Stoicism is a practice, not a goal. Don't worry if you don't get it right every time. The important thing is to keep trying and learning from the mistakes. 5. Share with others. Talk to friends or family about what you are learning. This not only reinforces your commitment, but it can also inspire others to adopt these practices. Remember, the change does not happen overnight, but consistently, these Techniques will become a natural part of your life, helping you face challenges with more wisdom and balance. We have reached the end of this video, but this is where your Stoic journey really begins. Let's quickly recap the 10 powerful techniques you have learned today. The art of perspective. See the problems from above. Control of what depends on you. Focus on what is within your reach. 3. Negative visualization. Prepare for the worst. Stoic daily. Reflect on the day. Detachment of results. Focus on the process, not the result. Practice of gratitude. Cultivate daily gratitude. Pause between stimulus and answer. Breathe before reacting. 8. Acceptance of the inevitable. Embrace what cannot be changed. Focus on the present, living the current moment. K. Emotional self-sufficiency. Find happiness within you. These techniques are not just philosophical concepts. These are practical tools that you can use every day to increase your emotional, mental, and practical intelligence. And the best of all, they are accessible to anyone at any time. So what is the next step? Choose a technique today and start applying it. It can be simple, such as maintaining a Stoic diary or practicing gratitude before bed. Remember, the change begins with small steps. If you like this video and believe that it can help other people, be sure to enjoy, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave in the comments which technique resonated with you the most and how it plans to put it into practice. I would love to know. And finally, remember this phrase: Stoic wisdom is within your reach. Use it to live a smarter, more balanced and focused life. Thanks for watching, and until the next video.